Producer Nick tells me we have some new questions. Let's jump in. Okay, so it says, question number 1, it says, who? Producer Nick in person.
It's me. I always get the first question. It's like I've deliberately messed with the running order or something. But my question to you was, what's your favorite company success story from a customer that's implemented one of our products or solutions?
Favorite customer story? It depends how you define customer, because if we talk about customer being the business, the company, there's quite a few of those. And I can think of one instance where one of our customers told us after their first full quarter of implementing Webpick, their average contract value went up 240% in that enterprise team, which is pretty epic. But I think for the benefit of being an interesting answer to the question, one of my favorite stories I had was recently where a salesperson reached out and said that they were invited to participate in a RFP, and off the back of the sort of response, there was 3 companies shortlisted, for which they were one of the 3. They went to the first meeting and they used a value pyramid, which is one of the structures, frameworks you can use as part of the playbook. As part of our playbook, we have a program on the value pyramid. And because they'd been through that program, they had used the value pyramid to position their value alongside the customer's goals, strategies, initiatives that they had learned from the RFP. And although they haven't won this deal yet, this is still in play, I believe, or it might have moved on a bit since I last heard from this. Is only a few weeks ago. But what they told me was that the customer had fed back to them actually that they were kind of the also run vendor in the mix. They said they had to take 3 through, and they had 2 favorites, and they kind of brought them through because they're a well-known company in the industry, but they certainly weren't the preferred by the buying committee. And the customer gave the feedback that because of their approach, particularly the value pyramid in that first meeting following the RFP, that they had completely changed their perspective and had started to really strongly consider this vendor. I mean, if the customer's telling you that, you've probably got a pretty good potential champion there. So that's a great story, and it just goes to show the power of preparation, the power of the tools in the playbook, and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so question number 2, it says mystery external guest, and it says play, so let's just do that.
Hey, Andy, it's good to see you.
My good friend Madison.
I have a question. How did you make the decision to start your own business and leave behind a really successful career in enterprise software? The reason I ask this is I often feel that urge to scratch the entrepreneurial itch myself, but feel like, quite frankly, the great opportunities that I have keep me from doing it.
What a great question. Thank you, Madison. I think there's there's kind of 2 parts to this question. The first is that I actually didn't intend to start a business this way. The reason I ended up in this lane, if you call it that, this career lane, was that I wrote the book, the Medic book, and I actually did that to basically improve my chances of getting a better job and my goal was to be a CRO. So that's kind of that. And I thought, if I can improve my brand, get myself out there a little bit more, my chances of getting the job I wanted are improved. So that's kind of the first part. But in the nicest possible way, it's ended up with this, getting to work with these great people I get to work with every day, and being able to kind of, as a team, create our own destiny, if you like, which is really, really cool. And so I would encourage anyone listening to this that has that itch to definitely go and scratch it. And what I've learned to sort of give the second half of that question, or more value for the question, is that salespeople are very often, if you're a good salesperson, you are a brilliant entrepreneur, because what you're effectively doing is running a franchise. Me as a CEO of this company, we're a software company as well, of course. I don't have any technical expertise. I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer. And so if you look at what a salesperson does, or a great salesperson does, they take a product for which they have no, input to a lot of the time, and then they take it to market in their territory. And so it's a lot of the skills that salespeople have probably don't get enough credit for being entrepreneurial. So my advice would be, if anyone's got that itch, to definitely go and scratch it. If you can find something that you're deeply passionate about, that you have a kind of a voice that people like to, people value your input on, that's obviously going to help a lot. But I would recommend the kind of the consulting to productizing route as a really good route to go down. So yeah, that's a cool question. Thank you for that one, Madison. It's good to see you as always. What it says is from Naomi Chu, and it says, throw to Nick behind the camera. I'm glad you put that behind the camera on there because, it could be anywhere in this room, but there you are behind the camera. Thank you, Nick.
You just never know with me. You never know. So the question from Naomi was, you can only ask 3 questions on a cold call to a CRO. What would they be?
Brilliant. Oh, wow. This is going to show how I need to do some more cold calling to have these like on the top of my head. I guess I'm going to be thinking about how can I implicate pain with my questions. I always think about questions you're asking the customer. I think in our industry, we think about discovery questions or questions as being a means to extract information, which is obviously important. We want to understand what's going on in the customer's business. But for me, as important or as big an opportunity if we're asking a question is not just to extract the information, but is to walk that customer into that moment of uncomfortable truth where they have to kind of live the pain that they might be experiencing in their business. So it kind of increases the urgency in their heart. And so I'd be asking questions. If it's a CRO, I'm assuming the question is about me selling our services. I'd ask questions around things that I think are pain points for our customers, which is going to be around forecast accuracy. If it's timely, I might, if I know, I'd probably look to understand what the company's financial year is prior to my call. And so if it was leading up to a quarter end, I'll ask a question about how confident they feel about their forecast. If it's just after a quarter end, obviously, I'll ask them how accurate their forecast was, how many deals slipped, do they think those deals will still close, trying to get to the point of basically, whether it's just a case of the process isn't being managed well, or we're just, they don't have any idea what's going on. So those are the kinds of questions I ask. So, around confidence, I'd ask a question that I think is quite strong at the moment, as we're sort of in this sort of time of efficient growth, would be around efficiency around salespeople. So I'd be thinking about productivity. I'd be thinking about making sure sales reps are spending their time on the right opportunities. I'd be talking about ramp times. So those are the kinds of questions I'll be asking, but I'm not a massive fan, I think people know this, I'm not a massive fan of like the canned questions of like, okay, I've got through, I'm gonna do my pattern disrupt, and now I'm gonna ask question number 1. I would like to go into a conversation with a point of view that's based on research I've done, experience I have working with similar peers. So it's going to be very particular to the person that I'm trying to talk to. Oh, doesn't time fly when you're having fun? This is the last question, and it says,
"Hey Andy, it's Calum here. A quick question from me, and one I've always been curious about. In your role as CEO, as you're required to put in so many different directions, how do you prioritize and manage your time as efficiently and effectively as possible?"
When I find that one out, I'll tell you, because I struggle, I'll be honest with you. The best way I've found of doing this is to basically in the morning, I write down my top 3 things. And sometimes I forget to do this. Like, I'm not going to be that, nobody likes I get up at 5 a.m., meditate, then do yoga, then, whatever. But I do, if I can remember, which is most mornings, I'll be honest, I do remember most mornings, I write down the 3 most important things I want to get done that day. I tie it into like journaling actually as well, so I do kind of take the time just to make sure I think about from a kind of more of a broader perspective of what would make today good and what things I'm grateful for and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, I tend to pick those 3 things out. And what you find as well is it helps you to replan the day, because you can say, okay, what's the most important thing? What should I do first? Reflecting on the day before anything that didn't get done. So yeah, that's how I do it. Nothing particularly groundbreaking there, I don't think. So that is episode number 3. Thank you so much again for your questions. And please, if you have any questions, get in touch. I really enjoy this. So get in touch. Let me know any questions you might have. The best place to put them, I learned from last episode, is down there in the comments. Please let them know any questions you want me to ask in the comments below. If you're shy, you don't want to write them down there, you can get me on LinkedIn as well. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.